Yep, we were finally getting married. The ceremony had been scheduled for June, October, and now January. I just needed Greg's mom to feel well enough to make the trip this month. If not, we were still getting married, come hell or high water, as my aunt always said. Maybe saying it aloud was tempting disaster. "The mission site will be lovely," added Maddie Levin, the owner of the newest business to South Cove, a jewelry shop. "My husband and I went there just last week to walk around. Of course, we didn't see the ghost, but it was early. Hopefully he'll show up for your festivities. His appearance is supposed to be a blessing." "Hopefully not," Amy murmured. Maddie turned her head and glared at my friend. Before she could say anything, I jumped in. "Unless there is anything else?" Kane Matthews stood and held up a hand. Kane was another new arrival to town. His tall stature, dark hair, and piercing eyes made an impression, even in a boring meeting. He scanned the room. "I'm sorry to delay closing, but I wanted to invite everyone to our open house at New Hope on Friday. We still have all our holiday decorations up and would love to have our neighbors come and see our new home." The Central California Society for the Advancement of the Mind and Body was a new addition to our town. CCSAMB, or C-SCAM, as most locals called it, was a group of more than 100 people who lived on a converted ranch outside of town. They also went by New Hope, which was much easier to remember. The first thing the group had done when they'd purchased the property was put a stone wall all around the 100 acres. Then they'd added a black gate and guardhouse that was staffed 24/7. Before they'd registered with the city as a religious organization, the townsfolk had assumed that a celebrity from Hollywood was moving onto the property. Instead, now we had our own cult, New Hope. Greg hated it when I called Kane's organization a cult, but it seemed like the description fit. The women who visited town wore their hair long and in braids or pulled back in a bun. They were always in modest dresses, no pants, and the men wore jeans and button-down shirts. Some wore suits, and I'd seen gun harnesses underneath the expensive jackets. And they had earbuds connected to a wire that ran into their suit jackets. Kane did as well. No religious order I knew had that level of security on their leader, except maybe the Pope, and he didn't live in a small California coastal community. The guards surrounded Kane every time he left the property. In fact, 2 men in suits sat outside the bookstore right now, waiting for their leader to appear. I suspected at least one of the guards was watching the back of the building. I didn't know what Kane Matthews had done in the past, but clearly he thought he was a target now, which made me question his New Hope organization and its sunshiny, make your life a masterpiece motto even more.